Mitali Das once again, and today I'm here to discuss the second chapter of your Honeydew book, and the name of the chapter is The Tsunami. And let me tell you that this chapter is based on a true incident. So let us proceed. Students, I believe that you are very much aware of the natural calamities or the natural disasters that happen often, and you might have also witnessed the natural disasters like earthquake or flood, right? So these natural disasters can be very dangerous and life-threatening, and some of the natural disasters are earthquake, flood, volcano, tornado, hurricane, and there is another very dangerous natural disaster that I have not mentioned yet. Can you guess that? Yes, that is the tsunami. And this is the topic that we are going to learn in today's chapter. But before going to learn the chapter deeply, let me tell you what a tsunami is actually. So, a tsunami is a series of long, high sea waves which is caused by an earthquake. They are larger versions of regular waves and it is caused by the energies underwater. The 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami is one of the deadliest natural disasters in history, killing over 200,000 people throughout South Asia. And this is the incident that we will be discussing in today's chapter. And I have already told you that this chapter is based on true stories. Before we learn the chapter deeply, let us know where these places are located. So, students, let me tell you that these places were affected by the tsunami that happened on the day of 26th of December in the year 2004, just a day after the Christmas. So the first place, Kachal, it is an island in the Nicobar Islands. So students, I hope you might already know that Andaman and Nicobar Islands is an union territory of India. And to give you a factual knowledge, it comprises of 572 islands, of which only 37 are inhabited. So it means that there is a total of 572 islands, and only in 37 islands people live. So the next place is Port Blair, and it is the capital city of Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and it is situated towards the southern part of Andaman Island. And the next place is Kamorta, and Kamorta is an island in the Nicobar group of islands, and it is located towards the northeast of Indian Ocean. And the next places are Patanangala Beach and Yala National Park, and these places are located in Sri Lanka. So students, I hope you might have got an idea about where these places are located. So now let me take you to the next slide. So there is a map in this slide, and it is a map of Sri Lanka. Students, I hope you can spot Yala National Park on the map. Yes, it's right there towards the southern part of Sri Lanka. And this is the map of Andaman and Nicobar Island. And please look into the map very carefully to have a better understanding of the chapter. Now let us learn the meaning of these following words. The first word is archipelago, and archipelago means a group of many islands and the surrounding sea. As I have already told you that the island of Andaman and Nicobar, it has 572 islands, and therefore it is an archipelago. The second word is tremor. Tremor means a slight shake. The third one is a phrase, in a daze. It means unable to think properly or react properly. The fourth word is entice. Entice means to be attracted or to be tempted by something. So let us now proceed towards the chapter, but before that, let me give you a brief introduction of the chapter. So, this chapter talks of one of the most unfortunate days that happened in the history, and the date is 26th of December 2004, when the tsunami hit Thailand and certain parts of India, such as the Andaman and Nicobar Islands and the Tamil Nadu coasts, and also Sri Lanka. And this chapter gives us several examples of bravery and courage of a few survivors, and also of some people who sacrificed their lives in the tsunami. And this chapter is based on the true stories of these heroes. So, after the introduction of the chapter, let us proceed towards the next slide, and it is the explanation of the first part. So, the chapter, The Tsunami, it opens with the stories which took place in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and the first story is of Ignatius. So, Ignatius was a manager of a cooperative society, and he had five children. And it was 6 in the morning when his wife woke him up because she felt an earthquake. So, there was an earthquake at 6 in the morning. And Ignatius carried the television and he kept it on the ground so that it would not fall down and break because of the shaking of the earth. And after that, the family went outside and saw that the sea level was rising very high, which is a warning sign of a tsunami. So the whole family was very confused. Two of his children caught hold of the hands of their grandfather and their maternal uncle. But unfortunately, they were all carried away by the waves and along with their mother. And only the three children who came along with Ignatius were saved. So luckily Ignatius was saved, but he could never see the other members of his family who were carried away by the monstrous waves. So in the next slide, let us talk about another brave man who sacrificed his life in the tsunami. So Sanjeev is the name of the man, and he was a very dutiful policeman from Kachal. When the tsunami hit the area, he somehow managed to save his wife and their baby. He brought them to a safe place, but afterwards, when he tried to help the wife of his colleague, both the wife and Sanjeev were carried away by the waves. So, this is how Sanjeev showed his bravery and selflessness and sacrificed his life for the sake of saving somebody else. So the next slide talks of a little girl who was of only 13 years, and her name is Meghna. So Meghna was swept away by the waves along with her family and other 70 members. And Meghna kept floating in the sea with the help of a wooden door for 2 days. So she was in the sea for 2 days, and meanwhile she also saw the relief helicopters 11 times, but the people from the relief helicopters, they did not see her, so they did not rescue her out of the problem. And lastly, uh, the girl was brought to the shore by the waves only, and after she came out of the sea, she was unable to react, or she was unable to speak properly because of all the misfortune that was happened to her. So, students, after the story of Meghna, let us talk of another brave girl who was of 10 years, and her name is Almas Javed. So, Almas Javed was a student of Carmel Convent in Port Blair, and she, along with her family, went to Nankori Island to celebrate Christmas. And in the morning, on the day of 26th of December, right after the Christmas, her father saw that the sea level was rising very high, and therefore he understood that the water would rush back with great force, and therefore he try to wake everyone up from their sleep and to bring them to a safer place. He understood that a tsunami was going to hit the area. right? So therefore he tried to bring everyone to a safer place. And when they were moving to a safer place, Almas's grandfather was hit on the head by something, and therefore he fell down. And on seeing that, Almas's father went back to help him, and meanwhile a giant wave came and carried both of them away. So this is how Almas's father and Almas's grandfather lost their lives. And this side, Almas's mother and her aunts kept holding to a coconut tree very tightly for some time. But unfortunately, the tree was uprooted by a giant wave, and this is how Almas lost her father, her grandfather, and her mother. And Almas, she saw a log of wood and she tried to climb on that. And after she climbed on that, she lost all her senses. And when she finally woke up, she found herself in a hospital in Camorta. And from Camorta, she was brought back to Port Blair. So because of all these trouble, all these tough time that she has faced at a very tender age, you see, she was only of 10 years old, right? So she has faced a lot at a very tender age, and because of which she was in trauma for a very long period. So students, we have come to the end of the first part of the chapter. So let us move to the second part of the chapter. But before that, I would like to request you to go through these two videos which I have attached together. So students, these two videos will help you to understand who Tilly Smith is and how she saved the lives of many people in this tsunami.
This story is based on a true story about a girl called Tilly Smith. She's from Britain. She studies geography at school. In December 2004, Tilly was 10. She was in Year 5 at school. Mr. Kearney was her geography teacher.
What is a tsunami?
It's a tidal wave. Earthquakes under the ocean cause tsunamis.
2 weeks later, Tilly and her family were on holiday in Thailand. They were on a beach.
Look! There are lots of bubbles in the ocean. The boats are moving a lot.
Look at the waves! They are very big!
Suddenly,
How strange!
What's happening?
Where's the ocean?
Tilly was very frightened.
Mum, Dad, Holly, quick! Run! Run! It's a tsunami!
What's a tsunami?
A tidal wave!
Run, everyone! Run!
Run to the hotel!
There were lots of people on the beach. Minutes later, the tsunami tidal wave was at the beach. All the people from the beach were safe.
We are safe here.
In September 2005, Tilly was in London at an award ceremony for bravery.
Well done, Tilly.
Thank you.
Back at school,
Well done, Tilly. You're so clever.
Yes, Tilly. I'm really proud of you.
We just scream, run.
10-year-old Tilly Smith and her family were vacationing in Thailand. As the giant wave, still out of sight, moved toward shore, she saw warning signs in the water, which she had learned about in school.
The water was really, really frothy. It wasn't calm, and it wasn't going in and then out. It was just coming in and in and in. And I was just like, listen to me. I know I'm right. There is going to be a tsunami.
She convinced her family and others to leave the beach, and not a moment too soon.
I looked round and the water was just coming up the sea.
And I ran, and then I thought I was going to die. And that was probably the most frightened I've ever been in my life.
They all found safety in the upper floors of their hotel. A schoolgirl, British press called the Angel of the Beach, had saved her family and many others.
Got to the balcony, looked out, saw the devastation of what had happened. It was just amazingly frightening that if you'd been in that, what would have happened to you?
We can only hope that as we get more details of the death and destruction in Japan, there will also be stories like Tilly's, of survival at the epicenter of the tragedy.
So students, I believe that you might have got an idea of who Tilly Smith is. So Tilly Smith was a little girl when the incident happened, and she was only of 10 years, and her family went to Thailand to celebrate Christmas there. And that morning, after the Christmas, on 26th of December 2004, there was this massive earthquake. And after the earthquake, Penny Smith is the mother of Tilly Smith. So after the earthquake, Penny Smith saw that the beach was getting smaller and smaller. But Tilly's mother, she did not understand that this was one of the warning signs of tsunami. So after Tilly noticed that the ocean was coming forth and bubbles were formed in the sea, the waves were also larger than the normal ones, she actually recalled that she had seen similar signs in a video which was shown by her geography teacher 2 weeks ago. So Tilly Smith was alarmed by the signs, and she alerted everyone that a tsunami was going to occur, and she urged everyone to move to the hotel as soon as possible. So her parents, they too asked everyone to clear the beach as soon as possible after they confirmed Tilly's suspicion. And they were saved because of the intelligence of Tilly Smith, right? So students, what lesson have you acquired from Tilly's story? So the lesson that you have acquired is that knowledge is the ultimate power. As Tilly had the knowledge of the warning signs of the tsunami, she was able to save herself and also several other people along with her. So with this, we have come to the end of the explanation of part 2. Let us now move to the explanation of part 3. So the third part actually talks of what happened in the southern region of Sri Lanka when tsunami hit that area on 26th of December 2004. It says that animals knew what was going to happen much before the humans knew about the tsunami. It says that the animals have a sixth sense and they know it much before whenever there is a possibility of the occurrence of an earthquake. And some experts are also of the view that the animals have much better hearing ability, because of which they can hear or feel the vibrations of the earth, and that way they keep themselves alert and safe. This part of the chapter also says that more than 150,000 people died in the tsunami, but not many animals were reported to be dead. And it talks of the Yala National Park, which is a shelter to many animals, including elephants, leopards, and 130 species of birds. It also says that there were 60 visitors who died at the Patanangala beach, and there were 2 water buffaloes who died in the tsunami. And there is a Sri Lankan man who added that he lived near the sea coast, and he said that his 2 pet dogs usually remain very excited to go for their daily run on the beach, but that day they refused to go out, and the man thinks that these 2 dogs are responsible for saving his life that day. So with this we have come to the end of the explanation of all the three parts of the chapter. So I assume you might have understood the content of the chapter. So let us now move to the next slide, and that is the warning signs of a tsunami. So the first point says that an earthquake is a natural tsunami warning. As you all know that a tsunami is caused by the earthquake that is occurred under the sea. So earthquake is a natural tsunami warning. The next point says that the sea is surging forward in an unusual manner. It says that whenever there is a possibility of a tsunami, the waves of the sea becomes larger and higher than the normal ones. It also says that the water level rises very high, it starts to form and bubble, and it also forms whirlpools. So these are some of the warning signs of a tsunami. So let us now move to the next slide, and that is the overview of the chapter. So let us now recall whatever we have learned in the chapter. So in the first part, it recounts a few stories of bravery and intelligence when the tsunami hit the area of Andaman and Nicobar Island, and it talks of how Ignatius from Kachar lost his family members in the tsunami except his two children who came along with him, and it talks of the bravery of Sanjeev, who was a policeman, who was a dutiful policeman and who put his life in risk to save his colleague's wife. And the chapter also gives us a description of the brave survivors like Meghna and Almas Javed. So the second part of the chapter gives us a vivid description of Tilly Smith, who was of 10 years when the tsunami hit the area of Thailand, and she saved the lives of many people in the tsunami after she had recalled the video which was shown in her classroom by her geography teacher. And the third part of the chapter says that the animals have the ability to sense the approaching disasters much before the humans can sense it, and they have better hearing ability by which they can sense the vibrations of the earth. And there were many examples that have been cited in this part where animals refused to go outdoors and they preferred to be at a safer place. So after the overview of the chapter, let us move to the next slide, and that is silent letter. Students, have you found something peculiar about the pronunciation of the term tsunami? Yes, you all might have noticed that the letter T is silent here and the word begins with the S sound, right? So in the slide, we will learn a little bit about the silent letter. So first of all, what is a silent letter? A silent letter is the letter in words that are not pronounced, and they tend to make a huge difference to the meaning and the pronunciation of the word. And there are over 90 words in English that starts with a silent letter. Did you know that? Okay. So these are certain examples of the words which has a silent letter, like a line. Here we do not pronounce the letter G. No. Here also we do not pronounce the letter G. Then soften, whistle, calm, muscle, tsunami, pneumonia, psychology, almond, etc. Students, I hope you can think of many more words which has a silent letter, so please make a list of such words which has a silent letter. So let us now move to the next slide, and these are some questions that you are to answer, and I hope that you will try to attempt all the questions. So students, it's time to bid you goodbye. Thank you so much.